Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick.
Yes, very good.
It's Dario Albuquerque.
What's good?
It's the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman. How we doing today?
Well, I'm Liddy.
Let's do this. All right, so it's been a while since we've done a show. The last time we did a show, what were we talking about?
We were talking about our predictions for this.
And how did we do?
I think we all did pretty good. Well, you had Denver in 7. so
It's okay. This is my life. I felt obligated to take Denver in 7 because
I know.
Of the last 2 series. But specifically, what was it that you said about this series?
So I originally had this series going to 6, Lakers in 6.
Yeah.
But I did preface it with if Lakers go up 3-1, it's over in 5. LeBron James led teams 14-0. Went up 3-1, so I just knew it was going to be 15-0.
And offensively, LeBron made sure it was 15-0. As we're seeing in this game. But go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to say he did that with his offense and defense for the series. So it's just it's just not all complete, I guess. It's very, but I don't know if he needs it yet.
If he needs what yet?
To be himself. Like if he needs to go that level yet. It doesn't. They've won in 5 every single series so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully he make them because I feel like he can.
Well, let's see. So LeBron in several games in this series had moments where he had to prove himself. I'll start with the closeout because that was the game fresh on our minds. So that was Saturday night, 4th quarter. LeBron criticized throughout his whole career for not putting games away in the 4th quarter, right? Letting these teams kind of linger around.
Yeah.
And him not being able to seal the deal. Something he has tried to absolutely change, at least in the last 5 years, definitively.
Yeah.
And something he was going to make sure he did in this game. This is just the 4th quarter. 4th quarter, 70% shooting, 16 points, 5 rebounds.
He was in pure attack mode.
Yeah, completely smashed and hit the dagger 3 to ice the game. So we're going to watch some of the 4th quarter now. But as you were saying, completely in total attack mode.
Yeah. He took the most shots out of anyone in that whole quarter.
Yep.
Yeah. That's.
I like
it.
You can always tell. You could always tell by the look on this guy's face when he's going, one-footed fadeaways.
But you see, this is the part that people love about him. Like when he's like in attack mode. Like if you look at all his career, like when we've like felt like he was at his best, he was in pure attack mode.
Yeah.
Like
you
against
we're gonna get into like him winning his first championship with Miami and how he looked. Like he's answered all the questions about his own game. Like when guys go under the screen on him, he just shoots it and makes it now.
Yeah.
When guys go over the screen on him, he just drives and does what he
wants. That was perfect. A perfect example. It just happened.
Like I'm saying, like he literally takes what the defense gives him and makes it work now, which makes him very hard to guard, obviously.
Yeah.
But what he does on defense, and we jump to, well, if you want to talk about Game 5, anything else, I was going to jump to Game 4 because we're going to go through what he does defensively.
Yeah.
I just can't find the holes in his game anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, literally, for if we really look at it for the last 4 or 5 years, he's literally been the best player in the world, and there hasn't been any holes in his game. The issue with him was he was facing one of the greatest teams of all times.
Yeah.
Like, I think if he would have been facing anyone else, he probably would have won championships those years. You know what I mean? Like, but you just like there's no holes in his games. There hasn't been for at least the last 5 years. Yeah. Well, I guess the free throw line. If we really want to get super nitpicky, yeah.
Running through all
if you want to get
after this guy. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. I'll start looking at the highlights. No, if the only thing is he has to get better at the free throw line. But look, game 5, he went, I think, 7 for 8 or 8 for 9 or some shit like that. Yeah. He shot like 88% from the free throw line. So when it matters, he does it. So,
did this make you feel better as someone who's generally untrusting of LeBron?
No, so I was just worried about the first series, like, because Portland, like, I was hoping it was gonna go longer, so then they could figure shit out. But I just wanted to make sure that I had like 2018 LeBron and not because I was worried that he was just like LeBron. Playing older. Like I thought he was gonna play like an older player because of the bubble and stuff.
Sure.
And Portland worried me because they finished in 5. Like they finished sooner than expected, and I think it was because of injuries and whatever. But then once I saw him play Houston was when I was like, oh, we're fine. I was like, it's just because I just saw what he was doing to Westbrook and Harden, and just literally treating grown men like little boys.
Look what he just did to Jamal Murray there on that block. Like,
yeah, he did. He literally he did this all postseason, really, because I mean, I guess he never had to guard Dame, but because they still were winning even when Dame going off. But when he's had to guard their best players, he's literally locked them down one by one.
Let's go to the full series stats. So we got Anthony Davis, who I haven't even talked about. And we can talk about him in a second. 31 points, only 6 rebounds, but 31 points a game. 50, 30, 90. Not bad. LeBron, almost triple-double, 27, 10, and 9. 53%. Yeah. Only 28% from 3, but that's all right. 78% from the field. Still put his stamp on the series.
Yeah, for sure. But I think our role players helped out a ton in the series, and I think like Dwight, like Rondo's helped out consistently for the last 2 series. And
this has been ridiculous for Rondo. 7 points, 7 assists, a steal a game, but 45% from 3.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Even though he only took 10, if he was playing for the Celtics, this would have been like 1 out of 11, maybe. And then it's killing your shit. Say that again?
Yeah.
Wasn't Jamal Murray averaging before this series like 30-something for the playoffs, but in this series he only averaged like 25?
I think it was like 20s.
I thought it was in the 30s.
I think he was averaging like 28.
Games.
I'm pretty sure when we last looked at it, it was like 27, 28. But you could look at his playoff log and do the calculation.
We can find this out.
He definitely had a mark in the series. Like it was not like Jamal Murray just like looked like what we thought he was. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we always were hesitant about him until this series, because we were like, oh, okay, now this guy has to be a star.
Yeah, you're right. 27 points a game on the money. Yeah, so he's still, I mean, honestly, when we look at it from that perspective, Jamal kind of held up his end of the bargain. 25 points a game from anybody is nothing to fucking sneeze at. Like, that shit is hard to do.
Yeah, well, our standard for superstar It's 25, 5-5, right?
Yeah.
That's what pretty much like if you're a
and
superstar.
He's 25. And he's 25, 4.5, and 7.5.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if he could do this for a regular season, that's an all-star, right? And that's a guy you can count on in this time of year.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Jamal Murray can keep it together and as this second star to Jokic.
Yeah.
Who
I think he the big thing
did
with
his thing in this series too. That's another thing.
Yeah. The only thing is I think he has to, or at least do something with defense, like because I feel like he was a defensive liability. Because the reason he didn't have more of an imprint on the series is because he just got into foul trouble all the time.
It's also a part of the problem with his. That's kind of what you get due to his lack of athleticism. I think athleticism helps you a lot more on the defensive end than it does on the offensive end.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to like getting better at it. And I don't know.
Or at least try to stay out of foul trouble. Like,
I'm sure if you could get craftier with it, but maybe that's the next evolution of his game. Who knows?
Yeah. Because if he could definitely add some shot blocking or something. Because he's still long and lengthy, and I feel like he could get up high enough to try to contest a shot. So
I saw LeBron at the end of the game at Game 5, like yelling at Jeremy Grant. You remember that? Or not yelling, but just like talking to him like it was his child.
Oh yeah. No. I'm pretty sure he was like really trying to like spit him game, like, but he was just like he must have been intent because it was just at the end of the game. It was once it was all over and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, but he was. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why he was yelling in an empty gym. So maybe it was just like a bunch of people were talking at the same time. So he just felt like he had to talk more. I don't know.
Listen, Jeremy, fuck this team. You need to come to LA next year. We'll have the cap space. We'll get rid of all these old fucks. This is it. I'm getting Dwight his championship. I'm going to get him the fuck out of here. It's amazing. But no, Jeremy Grant, pretty solid. But here's the thing. It's one thing for LeBron to almost do the triple-double and shoot 50%. This is pretty much what he does, right?
He did that the whole playoffs.
And he's done it the whole playoffs for 15 years almost. Like, that's kind of his thing. So, like, this is what I want to talk about right here. I've seen Anthony Davis play really well in games, obviously.
Yeah.
But you only get a certain number of opportunities to hit big shots, right?
Yeah.
And when you have LeBron James on your team, you really don't get an opportunity to take big shots, right? Especially right now. Unless your name is Kyrie Irving, you haven't gotten that opportunity.
Yeah.
And
do you feel like LeBron is forcing it on him, though?
Well, no, hold on. So Anthony Davis said in the postgame right after this that play was drawn for LeBron. And Anthony Davis looked at Rondo, a guy who he's had a really long-standing relationship with, longer than Rondo's relationship with LeBron. He said he made eye contact, and Rondo's obviously inbounding the ball there. Gets the pass, bang.
I don't believe it.
Why?
Because look at the whole play. LeBron never tried to get to the ball. LeBron's always, historically, if it's LeBron's shot, he goes to the basketball so quickly and starts something.
Okay, well then if you want to say that, look, he's on an ISO right here.
Okay, look, watch what happens.
No, I know what's going to happen, but no one really sets a screen here. There's no, like, LeBron's not setting a screen. Anthony Davis kind of just running.
No, he played decoy in the. I think he was playing decoy in the whole situation. LeBron literally never moved from his spot. Yeah,
maybe, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say that. Oh, he's just fucking lying.
No, honestly, you want to know what I think? What I think? Seriously, in these situations, I feel like they go to the locker room and talk to each other. They have to. Like LeBron's gonna be like, they're gonna ask the questions. So this is what these. No,
but he literally
manipulates the media.
The press conference afterwards. This was right now. This was right at, like, literally on the court.
Really?
There's no time for that. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, but
Like, literally,
there's nothing. Yo, look at
right
that
here.
play and tell me, when did LeBron ever look like? How many seconds do you have to like go for the ball? He never went for it. There's no way that was drawn. If that was a play drawn for him, that's literally the worst play call I've ever seen in my life, because he never moved.
I mean, I am not saying anything about the legendary play calling of Frank Vogel, but I will say this: it looked like it was an ISO for LeBron, if I'm being honest. And Anthony Davis said, "Look, I can just run right around him and get space." Because no one set a screen for him. Nobody set a screen for him. So that's the only reason. And he said it right here. He's talking about it. He was talking about it right there in the post game. So I don't know. Maybe I can see what you're saying, but I don't know.
Because Anthony Davis is very like in tune with the media. Because I swear, I'm not even joking. Like he literally, no, like he literally, in media sessions,
I'm just getting such a kick out of this.
He says like, he goes and says, what did he say? He was like, I know usually the second guy on LeBron James teams like have that pressure of performing, because like he's literally saying these things that people talk about on the media all the time. Like he's just like, so his mind is definitely into that shit. So he knows exactly what that was going to lead to if they drew up a play, because that's what they did for Kyrie in 2017 when they drew up the play against Boston. I mean, sorry, not Boston, the Bulls.
Yeah.
They drew up the play for Kyrie to get the last shot, and LeBron James said, "Fuck that, I'm taking the shot," and then he hit the game winner over Jimmy. Like that was an issue. Like people talked about for freaking months, because they were like, "Oh, who's the person who's gonna take the last shot? All this other bullshit. Oh, is LeBron James a pussy? He doesn't want to take the shots anymore." Like,
I'm pretty sure. So you're trying to say that wouldn't happen in this situation because you wouldn't expect?
Because AD, literally he defuses the bomb by saying this play was drawn up for LeBron James, but then I just saw that I just ended up running and getting an open shot.
No, that's not what he said. He said the play was drawn for LeBron James, but I looked at Rondo. Basically what he said was, I looked at Rondo and said, "Fuck that, give me the ball."
No, did you hear Rondo's interview? Rondo said he looked at that the play was drawn up for LeBron. Yeah. He said he looked at Bron dead in his eyes. LeBron James literally never did anything. And then he says, I looked at the cutter to the basket, who's this dude, Caldwell. And then he looked at Danny Green, and then he saw AD going around.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense. That makes more sense than that. Still proves my point that the play was for Bron, which I'm not even mad at LeBron. I'm just saying, like, that's Anthony.
No, I wasn't mad at it. I think it's a lie that it's.
I just think it's cool that he's stepping up in that situation.
How many seconds did he have to pass that ball? There's no way that play could be for LeBron. It literally makes no sense. He could have thrown it to LeBron immediately. Why let the defense settle?
I think that might have been because the way it looks right here, personally, to me, is this is an isolation. Like, there's fucking one guy on the side of the floor.
Watch the play develop.
No, I know what you're going to tell me, because Danny Green's going to cut here through this lane here, and then AD's going to go like this or on the back. But I think the original plan was to put AD here, let LeBron ISO here, and do his thing and try to get a drive or Danny Green. I think Danny Green's always supposed to go this way.
No, I think if you want the play to be an ISO for Bron, you would close out the plate, close out the paint. So then LeBron would have just caught it in motion, drove right past the dude, and then had a layup. Why would he have to take a 3-point shot at that point? There's literally taking a 3 by AD was a dumb shot, because he didn't have to take a 3.
Which is why I think even more that the play wasn't designed. Because I agree.
But it's also something that no one would expect.
Yeah. But
I just think because to me this play just looks so weird off the bat, because LeBron literally never even moves. Did he take a step? Like, I don't even know if he took a step.
Well,
it just doesn't make sense.
Wasn't it because he heard Jeremy Grant talking to Plumlee before the play, and that's why he didn't move? Isn't that what people were saying? That LeBron heard them talking about the defensive coverage and then he didn't move?
I mean, I don't even think I know that the defensive coverage issue was everyone was blaming Plumlee, and then I heard that Jeremy Grant told him to stay there or whatever, which doesn't make sense. I didn't understand what he thought.
They're probably thinking Anthony Davis taking a three is low percentage. I mean, he's not. But this is the one thing. This is the thing. Anthony Davis hits clutch threes. Like, I remember the one that he hit on Kevin Durant and Westbrook when he was a youth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was harder than this shot, but it's just one of those things that, like, I remember shit like this. Like, he's a clutch three-point shooter. He's not very efficient, but when the time comes...
Is this the playoffs or the regular season?
This is regular season, but there's fucking people there.
Oh, I remember watching that.
Yeah. I think that was Durant, too, we hit it over. It was Westbrook and Durant. But he's got a couple of these. Like, I'm sure if you give me some time, I could run through and find a couple, but he's good at hitting those big shots, and it was cool to see him hit one on the biggest stage that he's ever been on by a wide margin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm going to, considering this information, right? Because this is a question I had about Anthony Davis. Is he capable of doing these things
going into the playoffs? That was one of the was one of the things you mentioned.
Yeah. So with the answer on that being yes, is this the best teammate LeBron's ever had?
No.
That he's played with?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think Dwayne Wade is so important to LeBron. Just not even, it's not only like, not even the stats, just he showed LeBron how to be a leader.
Yeah.
Like that just by itself is.
Is Anthony Davis playing better than Dwayne Wade was?
Which year? Like Dwayne Wade's first year, with LeBron in the Heat, he played like a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, I'm not denying that, but I'm just putting the question out there because I think that's where I think it's one of these two guys, and I think we're at the right seasons too.
Yeah,
because I think maybe Anthony Davis will be able to answer this in a year or two better, and maybe we'll have a better case.
Yeah, it's definitely not Kyrie. Just needed to make sure everyone knew that.
Basically, we're
just in case there's people who are thinking, "Oh, what about Kyrie?" Yeah, it's not Kyrie.
We're basically doing this whole segment just to let Kyrie Irving know, remind him that he's nothing else. That's important to the few people that are gonna watch the show. But
I do like Kyrie, but not.
I think Kyrie Irving's in the top 5, but it's Dwayne Wade, it's LeBron. Or Dwayne Wade, and it's Anthony Davis, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Anthony Davis does a little more for him than Dwayne Wade does. You're talking about it strictly from an off-the-court perspective. I'm looking at it from a more on-the-court perspective.
No, well, I'm talking about, like, the offense ran through. Like, Dwayne Wade and LeBron were the offense, like, completely. And they literally locked up on defense. I mean, it's kind of it's very similar.
I was like,
they locked up on defense, but it was in different ways because it was more of the they guarded the perimeter really good, and here they're guarding the paint really well.
So but the biggest difference between the two teams is Miami's defense, again, just like you said, was predicated on dominating the perimeter, making sure they get turnovers. Turnovers turn into fast breaks. Fast breaks turn into dunks.
Exactly.
That's what they do. So the Lakers team, just like you said, much slower pace. LeBron's not trying to run up and down the court constantly like that. Much slower paced. Much built further in the half court, right? Dominated by both Anthony Davis and LeBron. Same kind of centric kind of offense.
Yeah.
With one or two player centric offense. But I just like I don't know. I think it's really close. I think if we're talking legacy, it's Dwayne Wade. But if we're looking
you're just talking about one season.
I'm just saying. I did it that way because you kind of set it up that way with saying this particular year.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what else is a team? Because if we're not just talking about one season versus the next season.
Because this is the other thing, and the reason why maybe Anthony Davis, we might need time to make this decision, because Dwayne Wade broke down after this first year, definitively. Like, he got worse, and his body just broke down. It's not like he's he started sucking. It's just his body started breaking down. There were a few games where he could be there, but he just wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, unless he gets hurt, has no chance to break down like that. And he's entering the prime of his career. It's the opposite.
I think we spoke about this before, and I mentioned could this become like a Kareem Magic reverse thing?
Sure.
Where it's LeBron's would be Kareem this, AD would be Magic in terms of roles. Well, but the roles will be parallel to Magic and Kareem, whatever. But that would be insane if AD's the best thing that ever happened to Bron and they just win multiple championships.
It might end up working out that way, but I think now we're ready to have that discussion with Anthony Davis. I feel like saying it before this point.
You think he could be an all-time great big?
Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna get the chance to have the resume.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the chance now, and we'll break it down. There is not a whole lot of people on this Miami team that can really stand in his way. I think they have a lot of guys between the sizes of 6'7" and 6'7", 6'8" on that Miami team that they can throw at LeBron. But outside of Bam, there's not a whole lot of guys that can be thrown at AD. So I think he's going to have a real opportunity here to make some shit happen in this finals and potentially grab a finals MVP.
You think so? I feel like Bam is going to give him a hard time. If they allow Bam to be physical.
Yeah.
Because he's
we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it because we got to break down the other conference finals. But I wanted to just say, I think Anthony Davis has a real chance to go after a finals MVP here. And take it from LeBron. Although,
no, come on, man! Look, they can't do that to Bron. He got him this far.
The games haven't even they haven't even fucking happened yet. How could you say that?
Yeah, I know.
We don't even know.
But I'm saying he can't. He can't do that to him because
he's in position.
I know.
If the stats turn out like this, I think LeBron's getting it. But if AD gets 31, this is 10, and this block number is 2.5.
I feel like it's going to be
a closer discussion.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I think he's got a.
No, I agree. I'm not mad at it. I'm just it would just feel weird that Bron wouldn't be Finals MVP on this team.
Quick question.
I feel like he's clearly the.
Yeah.
Quick question before we change gears to the Celtics Heat. Quick question. Ready?
Yeah.
What does making it to 10 finals do for LeBron's legacy?
Ooh, good question.
It leaves him on a list that only 4 or 5 people are on.
So here are the 4 people: LeBron, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Sam Jones, and Bill Russell. That's it. That's the list of names. Those are the only people to ever reach 10 finals. I kind of thought Robert Horry had done it, but I guess he's 9 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
He's got 7 rings. I don't think he's 7 for 7. So.
Yeah.
But he's undoubtedly a top 5 player all time.
Yeah.
That's what gets him on. It's one of those things where now the lowest he can go on his all time is 5. Consensus.
Even with the win percentage not being that great for his 10 trips?
It doesn't matter when it comes to it. For me, that shit only comes into play when you're talking about numero uno, the greatest, the top, the upper echelon, the number one player individual of all the players. That's when we start to nitpick what happened in the finals. The fact that he made it to 10, he's dominated this entire decade.
I agree with that, but I can see what. Do you definitively have Bill Russell in your top 5?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. So that's your criteria then.
Yeah, for me, that's why I had to be like, that's why he can't go lower than that for me.
So is Sam Jones in your top 5?
No. But
why not?
Because Bill Russell's infinitely better than him. But I have the reason why that's why Bill Russell stays in my top 5. So I'm keeping LeBron. I can't for that same reason.
So until someone else who's won to 10 NBA finals
and done things that LeBron and Bill Russell have done.
Okay.
Because Bill Russell made 11 and he also won 11. Like he's never lost when he got there. See, that's the stuff. See what I mean? Now we start to talk about this kind of shit. Like,
yeah.
But once we talk top 5, that's his. When it comes to his total longevity besides the finals, he's a top 5 player all the time now. He's on the starting 5 of the greatest team we could put together.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine someone had him not in the top 5 going into
but now it's like it's not even close. Like him and Larry Bird, it's not that close at all.
I thought it wasn't close for a while.
Yeah, well, a lot of people feel that way, but I'm just saying, these.
I guess people who just want to be haters or some shit. I guess
it makes it. You can only hate for so long. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And at some point, you just have to respect it. You beat him into respecting it. Exactly. That's what he did to me.
That's what he did to me too. And Tom Brady kind of did the same thing for me in football.
Yeah,
because I grew up hating the Patriots, and they would annoy the fuck out of me. But that shit that he did against Atlanta, that was some of the greatest football I've ever seen in my life. So I can't. It's just that's the type of shit, and I hope this finals we get to see something we haven't seen from LeBron, which will be cool. And I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm hoping that the fact that Eric Spoelstra is coaching against him. And he has a lot of, I would assume, a lot of fucking information on the guy. It might be old information, but we're going to find out. I just think they're motivated on the Heat side to try and stop him. And that would mean even more, I think, to me, for him winning the championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The story behind it. I think him facing Boston, they would have just made the Laker-Boston rivalry a little bit and then sprinkled LeBron on it, which... It's not as good as this. I like this.
Well, if the Celtics had made it, it would have been a totally different thing altogether. Because LeBron and the Celtics have their own rivalry.
Yeah, exactly.
That stretches back God knows how long.
That is true.
But on that note, talking about Miami, let's switch gears and let's talk about those used to be Heatles. Miami Heat shocked the world. Shocked the fucking world. 6 players in double figures in this series.
Were they? I think they were underdogs in this series too.
Oh, from a gambling standpoint?
Yeah,
I think
pretty sure they were underdogs. Until obviously they went up 3-1.
But love this Miami Heat team.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that you have to say goodbye to Jason Tatum?
I feel like Jason Tatum went to LA. I think he wants to follow in the footsteps of Kobe Bryant. This is why it's good not to tell you. This is why it's great not to tell you my takes before we go into things, because I know this is gonna make it. But let me tell you why. All right, Jason Tatum, you did really well. I'll talk about that soon. I just want to talk about this with my theory. Okay, so They go and start talking to him about the off season right after the L, and then you could tell that he was like, just based off his answers, he didn't seem like he's 100% staying with Boston. And then I'm like, well, if he's not gonna stay with Boston and he's gonna test free agency, you know what team will love him? Oh, LA. What? You love Kobe. It literally makes sense. It just makes sense. And then he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna help Ron win championships too. And guess what? This could be my Kobe Shaq thing, and I could do the same thing, except Anthony Davis is a bitch and he's gonna let me. Shaq wouldn't, so it's fine.
What if they say we're gonna let Tatum wear number 8?
No. He wouldn't do that either. Come on.
What the fuck you think you're talking about?
Yeah,
I
no
didn't
one would ever be that.
Check out these quotes, but he's not even a free agent.
Yeah, I think this is the end of his contract. I'm pretty
sure. He's got to be restricted.
Maybe, but
I gotta look now
because I remember they literally asked him in the thing, and he's like, I'm not even thinking about the off season right now or whatever. The typical answer.
Typical bullshit.
Yeah, but now let me really talk about the series. Tatum did really well.
Hold on. Before you get into the real talk, I want to talk about current contract real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got one more year.
He got an option on. Okay.
No option. That's it. No, nothing.
Team options.
Team option was.
He has a team option.
Yeah, that's why. This is the rookie deal.
Okay. So he has one more season. But they were talking about, because usually they'll extend them before the season.
Correct.
You know
now
what I mean?
I get what you're saying. So you don't think he's going to sign the extension?
Yeah, I don't think
Exercise his pre-agency.
And then Bron's going to be like, yo, Clutch. I love that LeBron is also like a GM. Like this is
and he's just
it's awesome when it's for your team.
Like it's amazing. It's so illegal. I love it. Oh man, just so against the rules in every way, shape, or form. Oh man, Rich Paul doesn't do anything in that agency. It's just strictly LeBron. But anyway, so we're looking at this team, right? 6 players in double figures.
Yeah.
Really, and almost 4 players over 20 points a game in this series.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive.
And you had a little star shine a little bit in this series too with Mr. Hero.
So you want to talk about Tyler Hero? Tyler Hero, 19 points a game. He saved them in which game was it?
I think it was 4, right? He had 37. Yeah, game 4. So put him up.
Let me pull up the highlights of that.
It was pretty much the dagger, because it's hard to come back from 3-1. Ask the Nuggets. They did it twice. They're professionals. They just
ass. But no, Tyler Hero really had a coming out party. This kid's super young, obviously rookie.
Yeah.
But ice in his veins.
Yeah. Do you? Because I know you mentioned this before with the bubble being a thing, and pretty much they had an off season in the middle of a season. So do you think this is like just him like looking this great because he's like a second year player really, and he got
it's the Kenny Smith theory that.
Oh yeah. Well, I think you mentioned. I'm pretty sure you mentioned this, huh?
I heard this with Kenny Smith. I heard this from Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith said, he said this about Luka.
Yeah.
A guy who finished the season before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then had that time off. Now entering the bubble would be in his next season, or like almost like they're 2.5 or 1.5.
Yeah, because they played about 60 games.
Yeah.
Like,
these guys aren't coming in with no experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the no crowd helps a guy like this a lot.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
I think that
it's easier for these guys to show out, like that, like the ones that like you don't know if this would have been in Boston, like
or even if it was in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah,
fucking, I don't care if it's a home gym or an away gym. 20,000 people will make you nervous.
Yeah.
As fuck. Like, and it's your first time doing that shit, and you got the ball for a game winner, and fucking 25,000 people are on their feet.
Yeah.
All wearing, if they were playing in Miami, they would all be wearing white. Like, that shit is fucking intimidating. And I don't know if he nails all those shots if he's in front of a crowd, but I'm not going to take it away from him. I think what he did was fucking incredible. Throughout the whole playoffs, I think what he's been doing has been incredible.
Yeah. He's definitely been a real asset to that team.
And they're doing bubble awards, correct?
I think.
Yes, they are. They're going to do some bubble awards.
There's no reason why he shouldn't be bubble rookie of the year. Or bubble rookie of the bubble or some shit like that.
Word.
Definitely the best rookie that I can think of, unless somebody's going to correct me here.
Can't think of teams. I don't know. Yeah.
The other guy that I wanted to talk about was Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
Because when I think of a star being born, I think of this man. And everything that he did, especially in the closeout game. He came.
Yeah, he was a monster.
But like, it's about how he got these points. Like, this guy is fucking can move.
Yeah.
The way he moves on the floor and like his ball handling ability. Look at these shots. He was
in the skills competition this year.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of like Kevin Garnett plus.
Oh, really?
That's what he reminds me of. Like,
he has a little jumper too, like just like Kevin Garnett. Garnett had a nice mid-range
pony hop jump shot.
Yeah, it just doesn't look anything. But the game style is
and he's intense.
Similar, yeah.
He plays intense, and like, I couldn't get over how fast and fluid his body moved for a guy that size. That's what made me think of Kevin Garnett. Yeah. Like Duncan didn't move like that. And when they were playing, they were playing from a playing career standpoint, I always liked Garnett more than Duncan, just because I liked Garnett's intensity and his athleticism. And I think Bam shares the same type of game. And like you said, that little hop from mid-range, right?
Yeah. It's just that the intensity throws me off just because, like, when you talk about intensity with Kevin Garnett, it's like the highest of the highest intense because just how he gets. So, and like players are nowhere near as emotional as Kevin Garnett. So it's like, it's weird to me. But I know, I kind of know what you mean with the intensity.
Hey, Jimmy Butler says he's the biggest thing. He's one of the biggest reasons why they are where they are.
Yeah. Ooh, I mean, all of them are just really overperform. Like they're performing like.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I was going to ask you, because this is something that I wanted to talk about. So obviously, who's the best player on the? Well, actually, no, not an obvious question. Who's the best player on this basketball team?
On Miami. Yeah. It's definitely, I could see it being a question because the thing about this Miami team is they just rotate it and they all feel comfortable rotating it. Like one day it could be Jimmy, the next day it's Bam, the next day it's Tyler Hero. Like when you think about it, everyone was talking about Jimmy being the best player on this team in round 2. And in round 3 comes in and you see Tyler Hero and Bam. And like, I know Dragic had a couple of good games too. Like it just rotates. So it just depends on how the game script is.
So it's one of these 3 guys, in my opinion. The case could be made for these 3 guys.
I don't know if right now I'm just saying Tyler Hero is better than Dragic.
So let's take him out. That eliminates one.
Because like I know he's been pretty good for them, but like Dragic's been super consistent throughout the whole playoffs. Really,
this right here, this is Kevin Garnett's stat line.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Which is incredible. 60% from the field in this series.
Yeah, and you expect it though because they play small. Boston.
I feel bad for Miami in this case because I think I just think that LeBron and Anthony Davis are just a notch above these two guys.
Yeah.
Well, but I think these guys are fucking good.
Well, it's like LeBron is like a jump above Jimmy, sure. and then Bam, AD's probably just a notch above Bam. Well, like a step.
So here we go. So here we go, my friend. I think that answers our question.
What?
I think we found the best player on this basketball team.
Wait, well, my whole thing is like LeBron is still like a jump above Bam too, so it's not like.
But this is my point. We consider Anthony Davis to be one of the best players in the league, right? And we consider LeBron to be the best player in the league. So obviously, nobody is that close to LeBron unless your name's Kevin Durant or you're in that category. But like,
I'm not saying Bam is the best player in that team. I've literally saw him be good for one series. I don't think no.
I think that this question is going to end up being the problem for the Heat in the finals, is if they can't really answer that question.
I don't think they care.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think that's why it hasn't been a problem at all for them because they don't just say Jimmy, it's you now. Like sometimes they say Hero, it's you. Sometimes they say Jimmy. Sometimes they say Dragic. Like that's the nice part about this team is they're like a team.
In this playoffs, 18-11 with basically a steal and a block a game, 5 assists.
Yeah,
this is a new type of guy we're seeing right here. Like, this is a unique line, and there weren't a lot of guys. There aren't a lot of big men like this unless your name's Nikola Jokic, who definitely doesn't play like Bam, getting more than 5 assists a game from the center position. That's number one.
Does AD count?
AD gets that many assists from the center spot?
Yeah, he has like 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh, I do not believe you. So I'm look. Because in my head, he's like a 2 assist a game guy, but I've been wrong before. Yeah, 3 assists. He's never hit over 4 assists ever. At least in the regular season.
You showed him for the. Okay. I was gonna say. I was like, you just showed that guy's one playoff series.
No, I know. Same thing. 3.6.
It's about 4.
Yeah, but Bam's another assist and a half above him.
Yeah, but he's like 10 more points and like.
That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying that from a passing perspective, that's my point. Usually, this is what you see from guys of that size. You typically see lines like this.
Yeah, like barely assists.
That's my point. Yeah,
but I don't know.
Or even
I don't see him.
It's fine.
Is he really like setting up the offense and stuff? Like
yes, he's working from the elbow. Like that's how Tyler Hero gets a lot of his balls. I'll go back here. Like, see how he's kind of setting guys up? Hold on. Look at the dribbling, though. Oh, that dunk was crazy. I'm hoping they show the...
Yeah, I looked at him, like, going into this playoffs, the reason I felt like he would be, like, play a role in Giannis's, like, series, like, and at least bring him to 6 games, was because he was, like, athletic and he was like a mini Giannis to me.
So tough. That move is so tough. But I didn't know he could dribble like this. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, like that. Definitely not like he drives like a guard. But I did know that he was in this because I watched the skills competition.
Oh, here you go. There's the passing.
Yeah.
This guy makes plays. I'm gonna run this back. Like once he draws 2, he's great at finding the open guy. Fucking great at it. And so here we go. Another situation. Doubles coming, right? Another pass.
Yeah.
Like he's good at playmaking, man. And I know these passes are just cuts, but like here we go. Another. He's at the elbow this time. Doubles coming. Kick out. Hero. Bang. That's the one I wanted to show you.
That's the only thing with bigs. Like I guess that's like I don't look at that as being like a great passer because he's just
but at the end of the day, there's just not a lot of bigs in the history of the game that actually do that shit.
Yeah.
And the ones that do win championships. Because who's the ones that come to your head? Shaq, Duncan, Garnett. All these guys are champions. Like, even Chris Webber to an extent. That's what made him different. Was that he was able to facilitate from the power forward spot. So I'm super impressed with Bam. I'm super impressed with Bam.
Facts.
I just didn't see that shit coming.
I'm just not giving him the best player on the team league right now. I
think my point is the case can be made.
Yeah, I think I could see that. But I think it's
they're definitely not here without him either.
Yeah, but I think it's their game plan for each series. Because I think like when you looked at the second round, like Jimmy was needed. Well, Jimmy, he was very big in that series in both ends, and I think and I think they needed Jimmy to be the best player at that moment because that's a series that no one expected them to win, and like I think like he gave them that the confidence pretty much, like to feel like they could win the series. Like I can't imagine Tyler Hero. If Tyler Hero was the best player in that series, they would have lost the series more than likely. And I think same with Bam because he didn't have that experience.
Yeah,
so I think it's just they rotate, and it didn't even matter for Indiana. So like I could see them rotating, and here I could see Tyler Hero is probably going to look like their best player, or he's going to have to in order for them to, because they're going to need to take advantage of the 3-point, them being significantly better at 3-point shooting than the Lakers.
So let's get into it. So here we are. The number 5 seeded Miami Heat take on the 1 seeded LA Lakers, right?
Yeah.
I like. Oh shit! They don't have like preview stats. You think who's going to be the biggest? You think Hero's going to be the biggest X factor for the Heat in this series?
Yeah, and Bam's defense between those two, for sure. Because I think Hero, Duncan Robinson, like all of the 3-point shooters need to produce in the finals for sure. Because if you leave it, if they don't produce, they're gonna get blown out. Because that's the Lakers are not that great of 3-point shooting, and that's why like Denver stood in games because they were just better at shooting threes than the Lakers were. The Rockets were staying in games because of the same thing. So was Portland. It was just the 3-point shooting that kept them in the games. The Lakers they drive to the basket really well, as you can see. And they're pretty, and the only thing that scares me is that my Lakers have been shooting better from 3 lately, and it's only because, like, I swear this is a hot streak. There's no way they just are gonna. But I could see the whole thing is I could see the Lakers producing way more than I could see the Heat producing in the finals because of, unless, like, I don't know if the bubble plays a big factor in this, but the Lakers are just way more. There's more vets in the team. I feel like they're more ready for this moment than like the Heat are. And I know it's in the bubble, but I feel like you still know it's the NBA Finals and you're going against LeBron James. Like, that puts pressure in young players like Hart.
Or it's what they dreamed about.
Yeah, but usually it puts a ton of pressure.
I mean,
it's only the great ones that kind of.
These guys are playing with house money here. I don't think anybody besides them thought they were going to be in this position. So I don't think fear is something. Also, that's not in the culture in Miami Heat. They're not going to have fucking scared guys.
Yeah.
That's not going to be how they come out to play. I look at this as a situation where, as I said before, LeBron is going. They're going to have a lot of guys to throw at LeBron. This is an interesting matchup. Of all the teams that could have come out of the East, I love Miami's matchups in this situation.
Like, I agree.
They have guards that are going to make your guards work. and they have big guys that are going to make your big guys work. And so I'm interested to see. There's going to be no breaks here. This is going to be a really tough series for
for both because it goes on both ends. I mean,
if the Heat keep playing like the way they've been playing as from a team perspective, like the thing that you said about the Lakers being hot, I found to be very interesting because that's something that I noticed as well. Like, yeah, they're playing well, but they're not. It's not like the way the Heat are playing well as a cohesive unit. They're playing well because their shots are falling. I would agree, like in that sense, and I think their defense has been very, very good.
I have a question. Okay. So the Heat throughout the playoffs, though, they've been playing from behind a lot in the second half, where they'll go down in the first half. Do you think that'll be more of a factor going against the Lakers?
Yeah, I feel like. I feel like it's not. So before, I feel like the Heat could go into the game down and still feel like they're gonna win. Like the LeBron factor does, because LeBron doesn't really lose games that he's ahead. Like if he's ahead, like he's really good at closing out games.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that puts way more pressure on them, and it's gonna be more of a Jimmy factor in that sense. Like I promise you, I'd be very surprised if I see like Hero or something like closing out games. Like
I would be not surprised at all, considering everything I've seen in this postseason. Like they've been doing it.
I just feel like
in elimination situations. Like they don't care. You just and also they would totally do it against the Heat, especially if Jimmy's going to be guarded by LeBron. We've seen how that turns out. You remember in Minnesota, LeBron fucking blocked the shit out of him and then hit the buzzer beater in his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be a route that they take, like leaning into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I definitely could see. I see Heat being that was the tougher team to have to face, definitely between Boston and Miami. It was the Heat that was going to.
Brad Stevens does well against LeBron, but I agree with you.
Well, Brad Stevens did well against LeBron when it was just LeBron.
Yeah, sure, and he still didn't beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just I really like the way this Miami team, and the crazy thing is we're watching regular season highlights here between Miami and the Lakers, and the two teams that were playing in these games, we're not seeing those teams. These are two relatively different teams. Like
Deion Waiters right there. I mean, he's literally on the opposite team now.
Precisely.
Yeah, yeah.
But these teams, I think the Heat. I don't think they totally knew their identity before this point. I think now they're confident.
Yeah, this is like the beginning of the season.
Their identity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Lakers are a team where they're another team all season where I think that's the same kind of situation. I think both these teams have kind of found themselves through these playoffs. And now you're looking at two teams who definitively know who they are.
Nah, at least not for the Lakers, because I've watched the Lakers all year. Like, this is actually... I was just worried that they weren't going to be able to... Because they played like this. If not, they played better before the bubbles. Because when they faced the Clippers and then Milwaukee and LeBron just went off. Like that... Like, we had a bunch of what's his name? The guy that sat out this year because of COVID. What's his name? Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
He went off for I think he made like 6 threes against the Clippers like they always had the third guy being their rotating guy. Really. Like they were trying to force Kuzma upon like as that, but it was really just the third rotating guy the whole time. And LeBron and AD have been pretty much putting up the same stats. I mean, LeBron won a little bit more postseason mode, but I feel like this is very similar to what the Lakers have been playing as the whole year.
Who do you think is going to be the biggest X factor for the Lakers? You do the Lakers, and I can do the Heat.
The biggest X factor?
Yeah.
AD.
No,
I think
let me rephrase that. Because I don't think that's fair. X Factor not named LeBron, Anthony
or
Davis,
AD. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jimmy
So
Butler, or Bam Adebayo. Somebody not one of those four guys.
okay. It'll probably be. I'd probably say Rondo. I think if we get playoff Rondo again, I think it helps LeBron. Like they don't understand how this team. I like the way this Laker team is built for what LeBron James teams. You like the issues with LeBron James teams historically have been LeBron always has to run point pretty much or point forward because he always has to have the ball in his hands and that he always has to rebound. He has to do everything.
Yeah.
So having AD be like literally a security blanket, and he gets you once AD goes into the post, that's a bucket. Like he's always giving you a bucket, which is even more consistent than what Kyrie was doing. And
do you remember when LeBron and Magic Johnson really had come out and said, "We're not getting shooters around LeBron like everybody else did. We're putting playmakers around him."
Yeah.
And everyone thought that was
that was crazy.
Shit.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that was so stupid.
Yeah.
And honestly, now look, it's literally saved them in this playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, because he doesn't have to do nearly as much. Like in terms of like his work, like even just dribbling up the court, like that is like it just helps him save that little bit of energy throughout the game, especially being a little older, obviously. And I think Rondo plays a huge part in like us winning a chip for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be either Caruso or Rondo. It's going to be one of those guards that's going to be playing 30 minutes a game. Like your guard play is critical because it's the most inconsistent on your team.
Yeah. The only thing that I love about the we just play consistent defense. Like even the Heat, like in this playoffs, they haven't been 100% consistent on their defense. Like that's why some teams have gotten like the best of them, or they go down a lot because like they just stop playing defense at some points. And like the Lakers have literally been consistent all playoffs long, no matter who they were facing. So that's one thing that I'm banking on is the defense, especially against a team that they're not a better 3-point shooting team than any team we faced.
Yeah,
and they don't have the most efficient players. Like Joker is probably going to be the best player. Joker and Harden, I guess, are the best players we've faced, and like we've done pretty well against them for the most part. So I think we can handle Jimmy buckets.
I think the biggest factor on the Heat is probably going to end up being Goran Dragic. Because of I'm just naming an X factor that I'm thinking of, because I look at Dragic, he averaged 20 points per game in the conference finals, right? And I just look at him as if there's anybody who can carve up those guards and make them work really hard, I think it's going to be Dragic. Because you're going to have Hero run off screens and shit. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
But Dragic is going to be the guy to collapse the defense and kick out and find those shooters.
Yeah.
And I think he's been really important to these guys. He's leading the team, obviously not by much, but he's leading the team in total points and points per game. And I think there's a direct reason for that. And I think it's because that's a big thing to what they're doing. Is there's two parts of this. There's finding the hot hand, right? There's finding the hot hand, and then there's which guy out of these consistent three, Dragic, Butler, Adebayo, is going to facilitate for us.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they've been doing. And it's been working. So I think out of the not star guys, I would say Dragic is going to make a big impact. But let's go for predictions. Who do you got?
I
And why?
I got Lakers in 6,
Mm-hmm.
strictly because they're my team. No, I'm no. I just don't think. I think the biggest thing that the Heat have like had over this postseason, for whatever reason, has been their fucking zone. For whatever reason,
Yeah,
their zone
true.
has been amazing, and I
True.
think
We were
LeBron
watching
James
it in
is.
some of the highlights that we saw of the. I was noticing it when we were watching some of these highlights. That even in this scenario, the Heat are playing zone.
Yeah, and they play zone strictly because of those guards. They don't play the greatest defense, so it's like perfect for those guys. And especially for the Lakers, it should be a problem for the Lakers because they don't have 3-point shooters. Usually, the way you break up a zone is you attack the middle and you
Kick out.
pass out, or you attack the guy who's cutting towards the basket or something, and you just like bring him towards you. And I think LeBron is gonna just pick that zone apart because I can't imagine a zone stopping LeBron James. Nothing in like the 17 years that I've watched him has really stopped him. So for a zone to stop him would be really insane. I think he's gonna just demolish that thing, and I don't think that could be their main way of trying to stop them, because I think it's gonna go bad. Only if LeBron is not on the court is that gonna work.
You're taking the Lakers in 6 games.
Yeah, I could see it going 7 though.
Who's your finals MVP?
I want it to be LeBron, but I honestly, my mind is telling me AD.
Oh, so you're going with what I said after that.
Yeah, because people, well, literally, like I heard it twice. I've heard it twice today, and I was just like, this has never even crossed my mind. And I'm like, this is the second time I'm hearing it, and just seeing what they've done with AD the whole season, pretty much. LeBron said from the very beginning of the season that this is AD's team. Yeah. He tried to like start that narrative, right? And then he goes and he tried to push for AD for Defensive Player of the Year. He goes into the playoffs and he says that that he wants to get AD a championship, and then he just keeps giving him opportunities. Whenever we're starting out the games in the Western Conference Finals, AD is taking 5 to 10 shots in the first quarter. Like he's literally saying, "You're gonna be the guy. I'm force feeding you to be the guy." That's why I thought it was set up for AD to make that to shoot that last shot, because just the way it was set, just knowing what I know about like when I watched them, and I'm seeing that they force feed the guy. So I'm like, and then plus LeBron just not moving. That was just weird to me. But
you got
I feel like my mind says AD, but I wanted to be LeBron just so I could continue this arc.
Lakers in 6 and LeBron is your Finals MVP. That's what we're going with.
I want it to be LeBron. So sure. But I think it's going to be AD.
Lindsay's up. Lindsay, I need your predictions.
I'm gonna go Lakers in 6 as well.
Okay.
And I like LeBron, so I was gonna have him as my Finals MVP as well.
What do you like about the Lakers? Why 6? Why?
I just think that when it comes down to it, they're both good defensive teams, and then I feel like the Lakers just have that little bit more oomph behind them because they have LeBron and AD, who are better than Jimmy Butler and Bam.
My turn?
Yep.
I look at this series, and of all the teams for LeBron to get this chip against, it's against the team that taught him how to win chips in the first place. And I love that shit. I don't love every story, but I love this story. And I think you got a whole organization that is dying to take something from this guy because they felt like he took something from them. Right? So I think you're going to see a very motivated Miami Heat team. And my biggest question, I think LeBron's going to average a triple-double in this series. I think he's going to easily get to 28, 10, and 10. I think he should be able to do it with ease. I think he makes Jimmy Butler a little bitch because he does that frequently against him. And my biggest question is Anthony Davis going to stuff Bam Adebayo and make him his bitch in that form? Because if that's the case, then I got Lakers in 5 games. But if
what?
It's just no way around it. Like we said a minute ago, LeBron and AD are notches above Bam and Jimmy Butler, right? And I think they're going to try and guard LeBron and AD similar to the way they did Giannis and that team, and try and do those similar defensive strategies.
Oh, that would be horrible.
And why would that be horrible, my friend?
For them, there's going to be, like, they're going to pick them apart. There's no way. AD and Bron make mid-range jump shots.
That's my point. I think I think they're going to try to do that. And LeBron, what do we know about LeBron game 1 in the NBA Finals?
You see, I thought about that too. And all I thought about was Golden State 51. But that was like the only finals he's really done. And like the only playoff game 1 that he's really done that. Like he usually takes it easy in game 1.
You think? Even in the finals?
I mean, I feel like he's lost most of his
I'm not saying win or lose. I'm just saying, what do we know? Is he comes in engaged in that first quarter. He tries to I just all that energy for that first game, and that's
I feel the same way. Like I want it to be that way, but I just look at it with the way he structures this Laker team. I feel like he's thought about his mistakes in the past, or maybe it was the 2018 season that he saw like he'd had to do all of that, and then they still lost.
Yeah,
and he just thinks that if he could bring them with him, it'll be better for him to win. And I think him going off in the first game would be bad for us in the series.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if he doesn't, in my opinion, if he doesn't establish dominance and immediate fear into this Miami Heat team, then I think this series has an easy chance to go 7 because of how deep Miami is, really, and how many good quality guards that they have that are going to make your guards work on the Lakers.
Yeah.
But I think if they can establish that fear, I know how stupid this sounds, but if they can establish that fear early in the series, I don't think the Heat ever even – it's about taking away the confidence, I think, of this young, they're just radiating confidence right now.
Yeah. If LeBron goes 2018, I agree. If LeBron is LeBron.
If in game 1, LeBron drives down the fucking paint and dunks on Adebayo straight up, after Adebayo has just blocked Tatum at the rim to save a game and that kind of shit, that's where I'll say Lakers in
5. If I see,
you can't take somebody's soul like that, man.
Yeah,
if I've done it to
especially people. Their best defender, that was just like it was shattering.
But my heart wants it to go 7, but I think it's going to be. I think I'll say, for the record, Lakers in 5. I think I'll go with that.
You're going
5? I really think that
they're going to be, instead of 4-4-4, they're going to be 5-5-5.
Yeah.
5-5.
Yeah, I do. I think so. I just can't see LeBron angry and focused like this, like not winning.
Yeah.
What universe does that ever happen?
There's no, because, all right. This is one of my main thought processes about this is, in reality, like, and this is where I think LeBron being on my team kind of makes me a LeBron tard. So when has LeBron not lost to like an all-time great team? Like that's the only time he really loses besides like Dallas. Has he lost?
You consider it really just is a matter of whether you consider that this Celtics team that I'm about to show an all-time great team. Some people don't. Some people really don't.
Well, my bad.
Chip,
I'm sorry. After 2012, like once he becomes like this guy, the guy that we think he is, that he's become now, pretty much. After 2012 is pretty much when LeBron becomes like the great, like clear cut, the greatest player in the world, and there's no one really at that level at that point. And
yes.
And I think
I'm not necessarily disagreeing. Here's the point I'm going to make. In terms of LeBron and focus, you see his face that we're getting right here. Exactly how he looked. This is exactly how he looked at the end of the Western Conference Finals. He looked exactly the same.
You think?
Looks like this.
He
comes out and he plays like the devil.
I was going to say an angel. He played like an angel.
No.
He's
in red.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. I can see
You're stereotyping colors right now. Like red.
You have to go on demon
evil.
time. You have to go on demon time, though.
Yes.
Like, in order to do what he did, like you have to go into a dark place, not
wearing 6. You know,
if you go,
6.
yeah. If you would have like walked in the light doing this, like it would have looked weird.
Yeah.
Exactly. You see someone doing this like in the dark, and then there's a spotlight on him, so then you can see him doing it.
Pretty much. But this is my point. When LeBron is focused and determined, there's nobody I'd rather want. There's nobody I want outside of like Apex Jordan. Ever. And so I don't know how, unless Spoelstra has the perfect game plan that builds confidence amongst or with that Heat team, how are you beating this guy?
Yeah. I just they need more than just because their role players over our role players is 100% like a thing. Like they definitely just have a better overall team. Like if you're like averaging it out, they have like a bunch of like 7 and 8s. Yeah. And then we got like a bunch of like 5 and 6s, and then it's just that we have 10s, and then you have like 2 other 8s. Like pretty, you know what I mean?
Oh no, you guys have that great.
But it's just that 110 is just like too much. Carl. Oh yeah, I hope he doesn't even touch the floor. Anyway, like in the finals, like he's been playing so weird, like bad.
You guys just gotta Wallace and Gromit him to the moon. He'll fit in great.
I think he just like could just watch. Like I think it's fine. He could definitely just watch. But LeBron's just be like, this is how you should do it, you know, like. Because I've never seen someone in a Western Conference Finals be like one-on-one competitive with a guy. Like, I'm like, aren't you trying to win a championship? Like him and Michael Porter Jr. Like Michael Porter Jr. would just go and score on him like easily. And then the very next play, you just see Kyle Kuzma chucking a shot up because he wanted to get back at the dude. And I'm like, and then you just go and miss. At least make it if you're going to do it. Like, don't make us deal with this.
All right. Well, did we miss anything? Yes, we did. All right. Well, then, for Apex Greatness, this is Russell Broderick right here. That.
Yes.
Dario Albuquerque right there. Off camera is the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman.
Goodbye.
And we are saying peace.